Alright, jumping into lesson 13, subtracting with renaming. They call it renaming, same thing as regrouping. And I actually think it's kind of fun to do this with fractions, so I hope you do too. So example number 1. A black sea cucumber has an average length of 2 feet. A spotted sea cucumber has an average length of 1 1/3 feet. How much longer is the average black sea cucumber than the average spotted sea cucumber? So again, they estimated that 1 1/3 is pretty close to 1, so taking the bigger one minus the smaller one should give us an answer of about 1. Again, you don't have to do that step if you don't want to. But when we look at this problem set up, when we have 2 minus 1 1/3, we don't have any thirds to take away this third. So what they did over here with the models, they had 2 holes that they drew out as models. All they did was to take those same 2 holes and make one of them into thirds. That way we had something to take away our 1/3 from. So if you look at it in the models, they're saying that 1 3/3 is the same thing as 2. It's not any different. They just had to make it so that we had our common denominator so we could take away a third. So 3/3 is the same thing as 1 whole. So when we do our subtraction with the model, if we just crossed out 1, if we just crossed out 1 whole and 1/3, we're going to be left with these 2/3. Another way to look at it is they took 3/3 minus 1/3, so we had 2/3, and then they took our whole minus our whole to give us nothing. So the average black sea cucumber is about 2/3 of a foot longer than the average spotted sea cucumber, and our answer was pretty close to our estimate because 2/3 is almost a whole. So we'll try a couple more like those. So example number 2, it just says find 4 1/4 minus 2 5/8. So their first step, like we've done before, was to take 1/4 and put it so that we have a common denominator with 5/8. So to do that, they took 4 1/4, they took the top and the bottom times 2 to give us our new fraction of 2/8 so that we have a common denominator. So now we have 4 2/8 minus 2 5/8. Now we are in business. What they did, and I'll show you kind of off to the side, was to take 4 2/8. They set it up as 4 2/8 minus 2 5/8. But when we take our fractions and we try to subtract 2/8 minus 5/8, I'll show it over here, 2/8 minus 5/8, we can't take away 5 from 2. We don't have enough. So again, we have to rename or regroup one of our wholes. So I'll kind of draw a model out real quick maybe. So right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Pretend those are equal. We have 4 2/8. So we'll say we have 1 2/8. Okay, that's a terrible model, but that you get the picture. And we want to take away 5/8. Well, we don't have enough of these eighth pieces, so what we can do is take one of our wholes and make it into eighths. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now we have 8 equal pieces. So all we did was to take that and make it into 8/8. Okay, so I didn't change anything, I just wrote it so that it's now 8/8 and we have the common denominator. So we're still left with these other whole numbers. So we have 1, 2, 3 whole numbers still. And now we still have our other eighths pieces. And we're going to pretend that these are the same size as those because they are clearly not. So what they did was to rename it so we have 3 whole numbers. And then we have these 8 eighth pieces. So we have 8 of those plus 2 more of those. So we now have a total of 10 eighth pieces. Okay, So when we go to subtract it, now we have 10/8 minus 5/8, which we can now do. 10 minus 5 is going to give us 5, and 8 is going to stay the same because it's our denominator. When we take 3, our whole, minus 2, we're going to get 1. So our answer to it, because we can't take 5/8 and make it simplified, it's already simplified, is 1 5/8. I'm going to try one more problem. And we're going to try number, let's try number, sorry, trying to find the right one that's like that last problem we just did, where you would have to, did I really know nothing? Let me see. Oh, this one, number 3. Sorry, it was staring at me right in the face. Number 3. Let's do number 3. So, again, we want to start with our fractions. We want to subtract our fractions. 1/6 minus 1/3 doesn't work because we have to be in a common denominator. So I'm going to take it times 2, both the numerator and the denominator. So my new fraction is 1 2/6. Okay, so now we have 1/6 minus 2/6, but 1 is smaller than 2, so I'm going to have to regroup this one here, because we can't take 1/6 and take away 2/6, we don't have enough. So we need more sixths. So again, we're going to take 1 whole, so that's going to become 2 that we have left, and we're going to regroup it as that 1 whole, and I'll kind of draw a model down here again. We have 1 whole that we're going to take and put into sixths. So now we have sixths. So it's the same thing as 6. 6 is what we get for 1 whole. But we already had 1/6. So now we have 2 7/6. Okay, because we had 1/6 before, we regrouped. We took 1 whole and put it into 6/6, so we have a total now of 2 7/6. Now we can go ahead and take 7/6 minus 2/6. 7 minus 2 is going to give us 5 out of 6. 2 minus 1 is going to give us 1 for a final answer of 1 5/6. Again, that 5/6, we can't simplify it because the only factor that goes into 5 and 6 that is common is 1. And I gave you 2 days on this lesson because I know it's a little trickier, so hopefully that gives you enough time to kind of master it. If you have any troubles, holler at me and I will help you personally. Thank you for watching.